I do not like vinyl battle mats. Everyone keeps telling me that they are easy to clean, but most of the ones that I've seen that have been like in use for any amount of time just don't look like they ever got really, really clean.
And that bothers me.
So I'm not trying to tell you that like your battle mat isn't good enough or, you shouldn't buy a vinyl one. I just wanted something that felt like more old worldy and rustic and like you would find it on the hearth of a Cracker Barrel. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you how I made my fabric battle mat. It's functional. I haven't played on it yet, but that's because our group hasn't got together to play, and the last game I was gonna run, nobody showed up for. Right now I'm storing it in this, I think it's a wine tote I got from Michael's. It's like a $4 tube of cardboard, but if you use a coupon, you can get it for $2. For right now, it just kind of keeps it out of my way and safe. So this is my battle mat. It is 3 feet by 3 feet, or, about 1 yard in either direction. I gave myself a little bit of extra wiggle room because when I was cutting this, I really wanted keep dropping it. I didn't measure this very well when I was making it. I also forgot to film that part, so like here's a dramatic reenactment of me measuring my 1 inch by 1 inch square grid. I think I ended up measuring this out, like drawing my lines on in colored pencil twice because I didn't do it right the first time. So like, don't do what I did. I made it hard for myself. I sketched a compass in one of the corners just because I thought it would look cute. And, you don't have to have an embroidery machine to do this kind of machine embroidery. It's just a straight stitch following, the lines that you've drawn on your fabric. Oh, and I forgot to mention the other thing that really helped me sewing this, because it's such a wide piece of fabric. When you kind of like get to the end of a line, I would just pivot around the corners. But doing that meant that I would have to flip my mat around to the other side. So then I'd end up with all of this excess fabric, like in that little area between the like thick part of your sewing machine and the other part of your sewing machine. Rolling it up as you're going, like keeping it kind of like folded over neatly as you go back and forth, will really, really help. So the fabric I used for this is a heavy canvas. It's like one of those canvas drop cloths that you can buy at the hardware store if you're painting your house and you need to like throw a big heavy cloth down. Because it's like such thickly woven thread, it's going to fray really nicely if you don't feel like hemming the edges of your mat. But I did go around the whole perimeter with a zigzag stitch here, just because I didn't want the fabric to keep fraying into the part of the map that we would be using and like playing on. Or you could hem it, but I don't like hemming things. The other thing I wanted to talk about was markers. I use just Crayola washable markers. They don't have a ton of ink in them, so if you're planning on doing like a really, really, really detailed map, you're going to go through ink really quickly, especially on like the fine tipped markers. But the thing I liked about the markers is that you can go over it with like a little spray bottle. Like I think I have one here. Yeah, so I just used one of these little like spray bottles, these little finger spray things. It's empty right now, you have to put water in it. But when you spray that over the Crayola marker, it kind of like waters it down and feathers it out so that it looks more like watercolor and less like marker over really thick fabric. It looked beautiful. I used way too much water and like completely blurred out the first map that I drew, so then I had to like go back over and redraw everything. So yeah, if you're really, really, really into like colorful, bright props and stuff like that, it can just be a fun way to liven up your tabletop role-playing game. What else? Oh, I wanted to show you the vinyl map that I based this design off of. They look like this when you buy them. It's a map, it's a roll. I think it's $22.99, which is fair, like for a reusable, nice vinyl map. It doesn't come with markers though. You do not want to use dry erase markers on a vinyl mat. These are wet erase. They are Lumicolor, non-permanent $10. You get a red, a blue, a green, and a black. And they're fine. They work. I don't like them. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't. Here's a map that somebody had lying around the shop, and I just wanted to kind of show you, like, when you don't fully clean it out, that it kind of leaves residue. I wonder if I can just like wet erase this here. Somebody was saying like maybe using vinegar on it or warm water. I'm really just like making things up now. But I'm sitting here wiping at this with water, and like the lines that are kind of like stained in there aren't coming out. And that just really bothers me. I don't know why that bothers me so much. The way I washed my map was to just throw it into my washing machine with a Tide Pod and normal white vinegar. It doesn't smell like vinegar anymore. Like, it didn't make it smell awful or anything, but it's a really, really, really good way to get stains out of stuff. And it's not quite as harsh as putting bleach on your fabric. So yeah, white vinegar and a little bit of laundry soap to clean this worked really, really well. I work at a game shop. A few of the guys that hang out here and work here are like really, really getting into 3D printing. And I didn't paint this one. One of the guys at the shop did. It's a gazebo. It's a magical gazebo. I don't know. It's really pretty. It's like in scale with any of the D&D miniatures that you'll find. And like most of the 3D printed terrain, kind of like the roofs come off so that you can look down and sort of maneuver your characters around. I love it. I'm more into the prop building aspect of roleplay gaming than I am the doing math and like having to think and make decisions part of life in general. So yeah, I had some fun like setting up photos for this and kind of like moving the terrain we have around and just kind of thinking like, you know, what kind of maps could you put out for your players to use? You can also use, you know, toys from Goodwill. I've repurposed pieces from other board games. I have a bunch of plastic bugs in my office. I'll set them up in different little adventure scenarios to waste time and avoid doing anything important. I think my next project on here is going to be turning this Christmas wine tote into something that looks more, you know, medieval. I'm going to try to make it match the rest of my thrifted Dungeons and Dragons like equipment. Let me know if there's some kind of like weird DIY thing that you'd like to see, because I really like doing these kind of projects, these kind of like experimental things. Anyway, I'm like literally going to wrap this up right now. I will see you guys later. Bye.
Filming equipment, studio space, and additional materials for this video were provided by Hard Knocks Games, where you can find board games, trading card games, Gundam, Warhammer, hobby supplies, and more. Check us out at hardknocksgames.com or visit us in Elizabethtown, Kentucky on Dixie Highway.